Greetings! We start our 2026 run of Lost Railway Towns on a slightly controversial note. Well, controversial in what constitutes a lost railway town, that is. As I'm actually travelling to this town via train. I'm catching the 10:15 service from Worksop, which originated in Sheffield and is bound for Cleethorpes. And I'll explain when we reach our destination, the North Lincolnshire town of Brigg. Okay, so welcome to Brigg. Okay, so I know Brigg isn't really a lost railway town, is it, as such, but there is a reason why I'm here, and we'll run through why during the course of this video. Because people often ask me, well, what is a lost railway town? And there's a number of criteria I have, and people challenge me on this quite frequently. Obviously, it has to have historically has to have a railway, a station or a railway line passing through it. It has to be somewhere where you can't catch a train to the town. So, for example, Clay Cross. People are saying, well, Clay Cross isn't a lost railway town. It's got two railways, but you can't get the train to Clay Cross. And then obviously there's towns that have heritage railways. In those situations, is there a regular railway service? Can you all year round get a train, for example, to somewhere like Worksop? And that's where Brigg falls into this equation. There is only one railway service to Brigg, each direction per day. So if you're a resident of Brigg, what are your options in terms of using the railway? Well, one service a day. I've just got off the service from Sheffield that arrived in here at 11 minutes past 11. That goes to Cleethorpes. Now, if you're a Brigg resident, you could either go to Barnetby, Grimsby or Cleethorpes, but to come back to the town by train, you've got to get the same train back. So you've barely got any time at your destination at Cleethorpes. Apart from me, there was two other people got off the train here today, and one person got on the train, so one person heading towards Grimsby or Cleethorpes. Usually in these episodes, we have a look around the town, see what the sights are, and we have a look for remains of the railway, the station and any railway history, but this one's going to be a little different, isn't it? There's not much of a station here that you can see, just a small length of platform, but there are disused lengths of platform just out of bounds at either end. As you can see, two platforms. I think the next station down the line, Kirton Lindsey, only has one platform. And retreat to the bus shelter. And what a lovely bus shelter it is. You know, capacity for 3 people to sit down. Brigg Station opened in 1848 as part of the Manchester, Sheffield and Lincolnshire Railway. It stood on a key route linking Sheffield with Grimsby and Cleethorpes. The line survived the beaching cuts of the 1960s, but that survival came at a cost. The station roof was removed, its Victorian buildings, including its grand booking hall, were demolished, and services were steadily reduced. Regular through trains between Sheffield and Grimsby lasted into the 1990s. The modern footbridge there, I believe in 2016 that replaced an older footbridge from the 1880s, and that old footbridge was moved to Leyburn on the Wensleydale Railway. And we do have an old photograph from 1961 here. Look, I mean, how different does this railway station look to today? Basic facilities, but I guess that's all you can really expect for its use. But I was just trying to think of the reasons why it's this situation. You know, it probably suffers from being on the line that it's on. You know, trains that go in between Grimsby and Lincoln, they go on the other line through Market Raisin. And trains going in the direction of Sheffield go through Doncaster. So it probably suffers from a little bit of duplication of routes round here, doesn't it? I don't know the full history of the line through here, to be honest, but was the line kept open for freight purposes? You know, from service moves from Immingham, etc. Direct link here down to the power stations as well, isn't there, on the Trent? But when there's only one train per day in each direction, we have to ask, what's the usefulness of that? There's a strong core of local supporters campaigning for a better connection for Brigg, led by the independent Brigg Line rail group. They've argued for at least a second daily return service, but this doesn't come cheaply. Now, figures quoted in discussions with the Department for Transport suggest it could require around £900,000 per year in additional subsidy. In a system where services are tightly specified and publicly funded, that raises a difficult question: who should pay, and how is that value even measured? Does it reflect the true cost of running a train service, or is it an overestimate designed to discourage marginal services? Incidentally, I was just thinking about this on the train on the way through. What happens if that service that I'm due to get back on is cancelled later on, or something happens and the service doesn't run? What are my options? I mean, off the top of my head, bus to Scunthorpe. Can I then use my original ticket back to Worksop to get the train from Scunthorpe to Doncaster, Retford, and then across to Worksop? Is that permitted, or do I have to buy a new fare and then claim back the original ticket? Interesting. If you do know, let me know. I better just confirm the times of the train, because I don't want to miss that only train back home, do I? Okay, so 13:53. I've got nearly 3 hours to kill on a rainy Friday lunchtime in Brigg. Any suggestions? I should just point out as well, obviously, the one train a day, the one service a day is only Monday to Friday. Look at the timetable. It's the only service through there. It's got an SX. So if we look at SX, Monday to Fridays only. Right, let's have a wander into Brigg then. See what the town has to offer. So Brigg, in the county of Lincolnshire, a town of around 5,500 people. And thanks to Nigel Fisher's excellent guide on the independent Brigg Line Rail Group website, I had no trouble filling my almost 3-hour stay here. Now, Brigg is an historic market town, and agriculture still shapes much of the surrounding landscape and local economy. There are plenty of places to grab a bite to eat or quench one's thirst, something that I was particularly grateful for today. The town sits on the River Anchome, and in centuries past, passenger carrying packets and cargo boats ran regularly between here and Hull. Today it's a quieter scene, with just the occasional fisherman dotted along the banks. Although Brigg is no longer ideally connected by rail, it fares far better by road, and the town sits beside the M180 with quick access to the M18 and via the Humber Bridge to the M62 corridor. We've got major ports at Immingham, Grimsby and Hull, all lie within easy reach, and Humberside Airport is just 5 miles away. Though rail passengers heading there will typically use Barnetby, where services are far more frequent. In many ways, Brigg hasn't lost connectivity, it's simply shifted from rail to road. Brigg is also the home to Brigg Town Football Club, founded in 1864, and this is the 7th oldest football club in the world. And despite the weather, I have to say, this was a pleasant visit. A tidy, well-presented town with more going on than its railway timetable might suggest. So in summary, going back to the railway, is it practical? You can't commute with it, you can't rely on it for appointments, and you certainly can't afford to miss it. This doesn't feel like the traditional parliamentary service scenario, the bare minimum to avoid formal closure. Rather, it feels like something caught in between, a railway that still exists, but without the frequency to make it truly useful. So is this justified, or is Brigg being quietly held back? And passenger numbers remain low, but how can they ever grow without a service people can depend on? In Brigg's case, it becomes a circular argument, and one that leaves the town with just a single service per day. And if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like and subscribe, and as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And a huge thanks to everyone who supports the channel, whether that's becoming a channel member, buying me a coffee, or sending me a super thanks. It really does make these trips possible. Thanks for watching, I'll see you on the next episode, wherever we end up. Ta-ra!
Welcome aboard this Northern train to Sheffield. The next station stop is Kirton Lindsey.